The cargo ship landed on Station 47 with a soft thud. Lisa Chen grabbed her supply list and walked down the ramp. The station was old and smelled like engine oil and alien food. It sat on the edge of known space, far from Earth and far from anywhere important. People came here when they had nowhere else to go. Lisa had been a cargo runner for 3 years now. She moved supplies between stations and colonies. It was not exciting work, but it paid well enough. Other species in the galaxy thought humans were interesting. Tough, they said. Hard to kill, but not special. Not like the Krithani with their battle honors or the Valoon who could read minds. She walked through the market section. Aliens of every type sold goods from their worlds. Blue-skinned Tharxians haggled over metal parts. Six-legged Drenix merchants called out prices in broken common. A Valoon watched everything with silver eyes that saw too much. Lissa stopped at a supply vendor. She needed food packs and water filters. The vendor was a Rockian, tall and covered in gray scales. Usual order? The Rockian asked. Yes, same as last time, Lisa said. While the vendor gathered her supplies, Lisa heard shouting from across the market. She turned to look. A crowd had formed near the livestock section. Aliens laughed and pointed at something on the ground. Lissa paid for her supplies and walked over. She pushed through the crowd. In the center, she saw a small cage. Inside was a creature she had only seen in data files. A Kresh cub. The Kresh were warriors. Everyone in the galaxy knew this. They were fierce and proud. They settled arguments with combat. Other species respected them and feared them. But this cub looked nothing like the warriors in the files. It was small. Its fur was matted and dirty. The cub sat hunched in the corner of the cage, barely moving. One ear was bent wrong. Its eyes were dull. A Kresh adult stood beside the cage. His fur was clean and marked with battle scars. He kicked the cage and the cub flinched. Defective, the warrior said in common. Born wrong, weak, this one brings shame. I will dispose of it here. The crowd laughed again. A Tharxian made a joke about Kresh standards. A Drenix asked if the meat was any good. Lissa stared at the cub. It looked up at her for just a moment. Its eyes were not dull, she realized. They were sad, tired, but still aware. I will take it, Lissa said. The crowd went quiet. The Kresh warrior turned to her. You are human, he said. It was not a question. Yes, I will take the cub. Name your price, the warrior laughed. It was a harsh sound. You want this broken thing? Why, Lissa did not know why. She just knew she could not walk away. Does it matter? You plan to kill it anyway. Sell it to me instead. The warrior considered this. He looked at the other Kresh in the crowd. They gestured in ways Lissa did not understand. Finally, he nodded. 50 credits, 20, 35, 25. Final offer. The warrior waved his hand. Fine, take it. Let it die with you instead. Lissa transferred the credits. The warrior opened the cage. The cub did not move. Lissa reached in slowly. The cub watched her but did not bite or scratch. She lifted it out. It was lighter than she expected. She could feel its ribs under the fur. You need to control your property, human, the warrior said. It must not escape. Lissa looked around. She saw a cargo strap on a nearby vendor table. She bought it and fashioned it into a simple tether. She clipped one end to her belt and the other to a makeshift collar around the cub's neck. The cub stood beside her, swaying slightly. The crowd found this hilarious. The Tharxian laughed so hard he had to lean on his friend. The Drenix made clicking sounds that meant the same thing. Look at the human, one shouted. She bought a pet. That thing is barely alive. It follows her like a shadow. Lissa felt her face get hot, but she did not respond. She picked up her supply crates and started walking. The cub followed at the end of the tether, staying close to her legs. It moved slowly, carefully, like each step hurt. She made her way back to her ship. Behind her, she heard more laughter. Someone called out, "Good luck with your shadow, human." Inside her ship, Lissa set down the supplies. The cub sat on the floor looking around with those tired eyes. Lissa found a bowl and filled it with water. The cub drank like it had never seen water before. She opened a protein pack and put some on a plate. The cub ate carefully, as if afraid the food would disappear. Lissa sat down and watched. "What am I doing?" she asked herself out loud. The cub looked at her. It made a small sound, almost like a question. "You need a name," Lissa said. "Can't just call you Cub. You follow me around like a shadow. So that is what I will call you, Shade." The cub, Shade, tilted its head. For the first time, Lisa saw something other than sadness in its eyes. Interest, maybe, or hope. Over the next few hours, Lisa prepared to leave the station. She filed her departure plan and checked her navigation. Shade stayed near her the whole time, always at the end of that tether clipped to her belt. When Lisa walked to the cockpit, Shade followed. When she checked the engine room, Shade came along. The tether was long enough to give freedom, but short enough to keep Shade close. Before leaving, Lisa had to go back to the market for one more item. She walked through with Shade beside her. The aliens who had laughed before laughed again. Still has the shadow. Bet it dies before they leave the system. Stupid human sentiment. A balloon merchant, the one with silver eyes, watched Lisa pass. Unlike the others, she did not laugh. She tilted her head, studying the human and the cub. Then she smiled just a little. Lisa ignored them all. She bought medical supplies and returned to her ship. As the cargo vessel lifted off, she looked down at Shade. The cub had curled up in the corner of the cockpit, but its eyes were open. Watching. Just you and me now, Lisa said. Let us see what happens. Shade made that small sound again. Lisa set course for her next delivery, 3 weeks away through quiet space. She did not know what she would do with a creche cub. She did not know if it would survive. She just knew she could not have left it in that cage. As the station shrank behind them, Lisa heard one final transmission on the open channel. Someone was still talking about her. That human and her shadow. Funniest thing I have seen all cycle. The laughter echoed and then faded as Lisa switched off the channel. She looked at Shade again. The cub was already asleep, breathing slow and steady. Let them laugh, Lisa said quietly. We will be fine. She did not know if she was trying to convince the cub or herself. The ship hummed around them as they jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving the laughter and the station far behind. The journey had begun. 3 days passed before Shade ate a full meal. Lisa tried different foods from her supplies. Protein packs, dried meat, even some of her emergency rations. Shade picked at everything, eating just enough to survive. On the 4th day, Lisa opened a can of actual chicken she had been saving. Shade ate all of it. So you have preferences, Lisa said. Good. That means you are getting stronger. The tether stayed clipped to Lisa's belt. Shade followed everywhere. To the cockpit. To the cargo bay. To the small bathroom. The cub moved slowly at first, still weak. But each day the steps came easier. Lisa talked while she worked. She had always talked to herself on long flights. Now she talked to Shade. See this panel? It controls life support. Air, temperature, all that. This gauge shows fuel levels. When it hits yellow, we need to refuel. Shade watched everything. The cub's eyes followed Lisa's hands as she worked. When Lisa pointed at something, Shade looked where she pointed. Other species did not do this, Lisa knew. Humans pointed. Dogs back on Earth pointed and followed pointing. But most aliens found the gesture strange. Shade understood it. By the end of the first week, they reached a small trading post. Lisa needed to refuel and drop off cargo. She walked into the post with Shade following on the tether. The trader was an old Rockian with cracked scales. He looked at Shade and started laughing. Heard about you. Human with the shadow. Thought it was a joke? Not a joke, Lisa said. She put her cargo manifest on the counter. I need to refuel and pick up supplies. The Rockian kept laughing. Thing looks healthier than the story said. You actually keeping it alive? Yes, can we do business? They completed the transaction. Other traders came to look at Shade. They pointed and whispered. One young Drenix reached out to touch Shade's fur. Shade growled, a low sound. The Drenix jumped back. Everyone laughed. Still has some creche in it. Someone said. Lisa loaded her supplies and left. She heard the laughter follow her to the ship. In the second week, something changed. Lisa was doing maintenance in the cargo bay. She had set down her wrench to grab a different tool. When she turned back, Shade was standing over the wrench looking at it. Then looking at Lisa. Then at the wrench again. You want to help? Lisa asked. Shade made a small sound. Lisa pointed at the wrench. Bring it here. Shade looked at her. Tilted its head. Then carefully picked up the wrench in its mouth and brought it to Lisa. Good, Lisa said. She took the wrench. Very good. Something shifted in Shade's expression. The cub sat up straighter. Its tail moved slightly. After that, Lisa started teaching on purpose. Simple things at first. Bring tools. Push buttons when told. Stay in one place until called. Shade learned fast. Much faster than Lisa expected. By the third week, they had developed a routine. Lisa would wake up. Shade was always nearby, still tethered but no longer needing it for control, just for safety. They would eat together. Lisa would check the ship systems while Shade watched and sometimes helped. When Lisa exercised in the small cargo bay, Shade watched, then started copying the movements. It was funny at first seeing a creche cub try to do human push-ups, but Shade kept trying. The cub's body was different, built for different movements, but Shade adapted, finding ways to do similar exercises that worked for a creche frame. They were 4 weeks into the journey when they stopped at a larger station. Lisa had a major delivery here. She walked through the busy corridors with Shade beside her. The cub was noticeably bigger now, healthier. Its fur had a shine. Its bent ear had straightened somewhat with better nutrition. At the cargo office, 3 humans were working. They looked up when Lisa entered. Their eyes went to Shade. "Is that a creche?" one asked. Her name was Maria. Lisa had met her before. "Yes, found her on Station 47. "Her?" "I think so. Hard to tell when they are young." Another human, James, came closer. "Heard stories about this. Thought it was exaggerated. You really keep it on a tether?" "For safety. She could get lost on big stations," Maria laughed. "The galaxy is having a field day with this. The human and her shadow. It is all over the trader networks." Lisa felt her face get warm. "Are they still laughing?" "Constantly. But hey, you are famous now. That counts for something." They finished the cargo transfer. Maria walked Lisa out. "Seriously, though, why keep it? Creche are dangerous, even young ones." Lisa looked down at Shade. The cub was sitting patiently watching the busy station traffic. She was going to die. Someone had to care. "Very human of you," Maria said. She was smiling, but not in a mean way. "Make sure you know what you are getting into. Creche grow big and mean. Shade is not mean. Shade? You named it Shade." "Yes, because she follows me like a shadow. Because that is what everyone calls her anyway." Maria shook her head, still smiling. "Good luck, Lisa. You are going to need it." Back on the ship, Lisa sat in the cockpit. Shade sat beside her, no longer at the end of the tether. The cub chose to be close. Lisa reached out and scratched behind Shade's ears. Shade leaned into the touch, making a sound that was almost like a purr. "They think I am crazy," Lisa said. "Maybe they are right." Shade looked up at her. Those eyes were not dull anymore. They were bright, alert, intelligent. "But you are learning so much. You understand things. You are not broken. You are just different." The next 2 weeks passed quickly. They stopped at 3 more stations. Each time aliens laughed and pointed at Lisa's shadow. Each time Lisa ignored them. Each time Shade got a little bigger and a little stronger. Lisa taught more complex things. Shade learned to open certain doors, learned to fetch specific tools by name, learned hand signals that meant stop, come, stay, follow. The cub even learned to help with simple ship maintenance, holding panels in place while Lisa worked. At night, Shade slept in the corner of Lisa's small cabin. The tether was still clipped to Lisa's belt, more symbol than necessity now. Lisa had grown used to the weight, used to the presence. One evening, Lisa was reading on her tablet when she felt Shade move closer. The cub laid down with its head on Lisa's leg, not demanding attention, just wanting to be close. Lisa put down the tablet and stroked Shade's fur. "We make a good team," she said quietly. Shade's tail moved in what might have been agreement. Somewhere in the galaxy, aliens were still laughing about the human and her shadow. They were still making jokes about human sentiment and weakness. They still thought Lisa was foolish, but Lisa was not thinking about them. She was thinking about how far Shade had come. From a dying cub in a cage to this, learning, growing, trusting. "They do not see what I see," Lisa said. "They look at you and see broken. I look at you and see potential." Shade made a soft sound and closed her eyes. The ship hummed through space, carrying them toward the next delivery. The tether connected them, human and creche. But it was no longer just a physical thing. Something deeper had formed. Something the laughing aliens did not understand and might never understand. Something that would change everything. The message came through on the 3rd month. Lisa was at Gateway Station, one of the largest trading hubs in the sector. She had just finished unloading cargo when her communicator buzzed. Official channel. Creche signature. Lisa's stomach tightened. She looked down at Shade. The cub was no longer small. She had grown significantly, now reaching Lissa's waist. Her fur was thick and healthy. Her movements were confident. But she was still young, still learning. Stay close, Lisa said quietly. Shade moved nearer, sensing the tension. Lisa opened the message. The face that appeared was Kresh, male, covered in battle scars. His eyes were cold. Human Lisa Chen. I am Commander Vrak of the Kresh Warband. You possess property that belongs to my clan, a defective cub taken from Station 47. You will return it. Lisa kept her voice steady. I purchased the cub legally. Your warrior sold her to me. The warrior did not have authority to sell clan property, only to dispose of it. You have stolen from us. That is not what happened, and you know it. Vrak's lips pulled back, showing teeth. You are human. You do not understand Kresh law or honor. The cub is defective. It brings shame. It should have died. She is not defective. She is healthy and strong. Impossible. It was weak. Born wrong. This is why it was marked for disposal. Lisa felt anger rising in her chest. Come see for yourself, then. Look at her and tell me she is weak. There was a long pause. Vrak studied Lisa through the screen. Then he looked past her at Shade. His eyes narrowed. You have fattened it. Made it soft. This proves nothing. Then test her. The words came out before Lisa could stop them. Shade looked up at her, head tilted. Vrak's expression changed. He leaned forward. You challenge Kresh tradition? No, I accept it. You say she is defective. I say she is not. Let her prove it. You do not know what you are asking, human. Then explain it to me. Vrak was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice had changed. Less angry. More interested. There is a trial. A hunt in the proving grounds. Young Kresh must face it before they are accepted as warriors. Those who fail do not return. You would subject this creature to that? Lissa looked at Shade. The cub stared back. In those eyes, Lissa saw intelligence, trust, and something else, readiness. What happens if she succeeds? Then she is Kresh, her shame is washed away, and your claim to her is acknowledged. And if I refuse, then I take her by force. She will be destroyed as she should have been, and you will be charged with theft under Kresh law. Lissa's hands clenched. Where is this trial? Crimson Wilds. 4th moon of Tarkos Prime. I will send coordinates. You have 3 days to arrive. The screen went dark. Lissa sat down heavily. Shade came and put her head on Lisa's knee. The human scratched behind the cub's ears absently, thinking. I am sorry, Lissa said. I should not have challenged him. Should not have offered you up like that. Shade made a soft sound. Not worried. Almost reassuring. You do not understand what I just did, do you? I put you in danger. Real danger. But even as she said it, Lisa knew it was not completely true. She had seen Shade learn, seen her grow, seen the intelligence that others called defective. Shade was different from other Kresh. But different did not mean weak. Over the next 3 days, Lissa did research. She dug through every file she could find about Kresh trials. The proving grounds were brutal. Young Kresh were sent into hostile territory filled with predators. They had to survive for 3 days, hunt, adapt. Those who returned were warriors. Those who did not were forgotten. The mortality rate was 30%. For normal, healthy Kresh cubs, Lissa also trained with Shade. She taught the cub everything she could think of. Survival tactics, how to avoid fights, how to use terrain, how to hide. Shade absorbed it all, learning in days what should take weeks. On the 3rd day, they arrived at Tarkos Prime. The 4th moon was red, hence the name Crimson Wilds. From orbit, Lisa could see the dense forests and rocky terrain. 3 Kresh warships were already there. They landed at the designated coordinates. A camp had been set up. 20 Kresh warriors stood waiting. Commander Vrak was at the center. Lissa walked down the ramp with Shade beside her. The tether was still clipped to her belt. She had not removed it since that first day on Station 47. The Kresh stared. Several pointed at Shade and spoke in their language. Lissa heard surprise in their voices. Vrak stepped forward. He looked at Shade for a long moment. It has grown. She has grown. Yes. It is still small for its age. Still carries the bent ear. Still defective. She is different. Not defective. Another Kresh warrior laughed. The human has taught it tricks. Made it a pet. This is not strength. This is weakness, Lissa met his eyes. Then let her prove otherwise. Vrak raised his hand. The other warriors fell silent. Very well. The trial begins at dawn. 3 days in the wilds. Return to this spot by sunset of the 3rd day. Those are the rules. No weapons. No technology. Only what you can make or find. We? Lisa asked. You offered her for the trial. Kresh law says the one who offers must accompany. You will enter the wilds together. Lisa felt her stomach drop. I am not Kresh, I am human. You are the one who claimed she has worth. Prove it together. Vrack smiled, showing teeth. Unless you wish to withdraw. Lisa looked at Shade. The cub gazed back, calm and waiting. Then Lisa looked at the Kresh warriors. They expected her to back down. Expected her to run. No, we will do it. Murmurs ran through the Kresh. Vrack's smile faded. You understand what you agree to? The wilds are home to many predators. Thornbacks, razor wings, dusk maws, things that hunt Kresh for sport. You are human, soft, weak. You will die. Maybe. But I will not abandon her. One of the older warriors stepped forward. She was female, covered in more scars than Vrack. The human shows courage. Foolish courage, but courage. I will allow this trial. Vrack bowed his head slightly to her. As you command, Elder Thress. Elder Thress walked closer to Lissa. She studied the human with ancient eyes. Then she looked at Shade. This cub is different. I see it now. It watches, thinks, these are not defects. These are gifts in the right circumstances. She turned to Vrack. Let them prove themselves. If they return, the cub's shame is erased. And if they do not? Vrack asked. Then the matter is settled. Thress looked at Lisa. Rest tonight, human. At dawn you enter the wilds, many have entered. Not all return. Your shadow may become very real before this ends. That night Lissa barely slept. She lay in her ship, Shade curled beside her. The tether connected them as always. Lissa thought about removing it. About giving Shade the choice to run, but she did not. The tether was part of them now, a symbol of their bond, and in the wilds they would need that bond to survive. Tomorrow changes everything, Lissa whispered. Are you ready? Shade opened one eye, looked at Lisa, then closed it again, completely calm. Lisa smiled despite her fear. I hope you're right. Dawn came too soon. The red sun rose over the crimson wilds. The Kresh gathered. Lisa stood at the edge of the forest with Shade beside her. The tether hung between them. Vrack pointed into the trees. 3 days. Return here. That is all? Lissa nodded. She looked down at Shade. Together? Shade pressed against her leg. Together they walked into the wilds. Behind them the Kresh watched. Some shook their heads. Some looked curious. All expected them to fail. The forest swallowed them. The trial had begun. The crimson wilds earned their name. Everything was red. The soil, the plants. Even the water in the streams ran rust-colored from the iron-rich ground. The trees were massive, their trunks wide as Lissa's ship. The canopy above blocked most of the sunlight, leaving the forest floor in permanent twilight. Lissa moved carefully, Shade beside her. The tether connected them, but Lissa held it loose, letting Shade move freely. The cub's senses were sharper than hers. Better to let Shade lead when it came to detecting danger. They had been walking for an hour when Shade stopped. Her ears went back. A low growl rumbled in her throat. Lissa froze. She heard it then. A rustling in the brush ahead. Something big moving through the undergrowth. Back, Lissa whispered. Slowly, they retreated behind a massive tree trunk. Lissa peered around the edge. A creature emerged from the brush. It stood twice Lissa's height, covered in scales and spikes. A thornback, just like Vrack had described. It moved on 4 legs, sniffing the air. Lissa pressed herself against the tree. She felt Shade tense beside her. The cub wanted to fight, she could tell. That was Kresh instinct, face threats head on, but Lissa put a hand on Shade's head, holding her still. Not yet, she breathed. Wait, the thornback sniffed the air again. It took a step toward their tree. Then another. Lissa's heart pounded. If it found them, they would have to fight. And fighting that thing directly would be suicide. Then Shade did something unexpected. She picked up a stone with her mouth and threw it hard in the opposite direction. It crashed through the brush 30 meters away. The thornback's head snapped toward the sound. It charged in that direction, roaring. Within seconds, it was gone. Lissa stared at Shade. You created a distraction. Shade looked back at her. There was intelligence in those eyes, understanding of tactics, of misdirection. That is not normal creche behavior, is it? Shade tilted her head as if to say, so what? They moved on, circling around where the thornback had gone. As they walked, Lisa thought about what just happened. A normal creche cub would have fought, would have charged the thornback because that was what creche did. They faced challenges directly. It was their way, but Shade had learned another way. From watching Lisa. From months of seeing how humans solved problems. Not always with strength. Sometimes with cleverness. By midday they found a stream. Lisa knelt to drink. The water tasted metallic but was safe. Shade drank beside her, alert, watching for danger. We need food, Lisa said. And shelter before night. Shade moved upstream, nose to the ground. She was tracking something. Lisa followed. 20 minutes later, Shade stopped at a berry bush. She sniffed the berries carefully, then ate one. Waited. When nothing bad happened, she looked at Lisa. You are checking if they are safe? Lisa asked. Shade ate another berry. Lisa smiled. Smart girl. They gathered berries and moved on. Shade caught a small lizard-like creature, killing it quickly. It was not much, but it was protein. Lisa found dry wood and used friction to start a fire, a skill her grandfather had taught her. Shade watched the process intently. As the sun set, they found an outcropping of rocks that formed a shallow cave. Defensible. Hidden. Good shelter. They settled in, the fire small and smokeless. Lisa cooked the lizard meat. They shared it, eating in silence. Night in the wilds was different from day. Sounds echoed through the trees. Howls, screams. The calls of predators hunting. Lisa kept the fire burning low. Shade curled beside her, warm and solid. One day down, Lisa said quietly. 2 more to go. Shade's ear twitched. On the second day, things got harder. They ran into a pack of smaller predators. Razorwings, Lisa guessed. They moved through the trees, hunting in groups. There were 6 of them. This time they could not avoid a fight. The first razorwing dove at Lisa. She rolled aside, grabbing a branch from the ground. The creature came at her again. She swung hard, connecting with its head. It shrieked and fell. Another came at Shade. The cub met it head-on, teeth and claws flashing. But she did not just brawl. She used the tactics Lisa had taught her. Dodge, counter. Use the enemy's momentum. The razorwing went down. 2 more attacked together. Lisa shouted, drawing their attention. They split up. One came for her, one for Shade, but that was a mistake. Fighting separately, they were weaker. Lisa and Shade moved in sync. They had trained together for months. Lisa would feint left, drawing her target into Shade's range. Shade would strike, then retreat, pushing her target toward Lisa. They worked as a team, flowing together like water. The razor wings fell. The last 2 fled. Lisa leaned against a tree, breathing hard. She had scratches on her arms. Shade had a cut on her shoulder, but it was shallow. They had won. We make a good team, Lisa said between breaths. Shade came to her side, pressed against her. Lisa put her arm around the cub. Better than good, she added. That afternoon they found signs of another trial. Bones. Creche bones, old and scattered. Someone had failed the trial here. Maybe recently. Maybe years ago. It was a reminder of what was at stake. They pushed on. By evening of the second day they were exhausted, hungry, sore but alive. They made camp in another sheltered spot. Lisa tended to Shade's cut. Using leaves she had seen the cub identify as medicinal. Shade sat still, trusting. Tomorrow we return, Lisa said. If we can survive 1 more day, we win. Shade made a soft sound. Agreement, maybe. Or determination. The 3rd day started before dawn. Lisa woke to Shade's warning growl. Something was outside their shelter. Something big. Lisa grabbed her makeshift spear, a sharpened branch. She peered out into the pre-dawn darkness. At first she saw nothing. Then movement. A shape sliding between trees. A dusk maw. Lisa had read about them. Apex predators of the wilds. They hunted everything, including adult creche. They were patient, smart, and very, very dangerous. We need to move, Lisa whispered. Now. They slipped out of the shelter from the backside. The dusk maw was still circling the front. They moved as quietly as possible through the forest. Behind them, Lisa heard the creature discover the empty shelter. It roared, a sound that made her bones shake. Then it started tracking them. For 2 hours they ran. The dusk maw followed, never quite catching up but never falling behind. It was playing with them, Lisa realized. Wearing them down. We cannot outrun it, Lisa said. We have to face it. Shade looked at her. Nodded once. They found a clearing with a stream running through it. Rocky terrain. Limited approaches. Good for defense. Lissa and Shade positioned themselves with their backs to a large boulder. The Duskmaw emerged from the trees. It was massive. 4 meters long, covered in dark scales. Its eyes were intelligent and cruel. It saw them and smiled. If such a creature could smile, it charged. But Lissa and Shade were ready. As it came at them, Shade darted left. The creature followed, confused. Then Lissa went right. It turned, trying to track both. They were using pack tactics, splitting its attention, never letting it focus on one target. The Duskmaw lunged at Shade. The cub dodged, leading it toward the stream. The rocks were slippery there. As the creature's feet hit the wet stones, it stumbled. Just for a second, that was enough. Lissa drove her spear into its side. Shade attacked from the other direction, claws and teeth finding purchase. The Duskmaw thrashed, trying to throw them off, but they did not let go. They had survived together for 3 months. Learned together, fought together. They knew each other's movements like their own. The battle lasted minutes, but felt like hours. When it ended, the Duskmaw lay still. Lissa and Shade stood over it, bloodied and exhausted. "We did it," Lissa said. She was shaking. Shade leaned against her. The tether between them was covered in blood and dirt, but still intact. They rested for an hour. Then they started the final journey back to the camp. By mid-afternoon, they could see the edge of the forest. The Kresh were waiting just as they had been 3 days before. Lissa and Shade walked out of the wilds together. The Kresh stared in silence. They had survived. Commander Vrak stood frozen. His eyes moved from Lissa to Shade, taking in the blood, the wounds, the exhaustion. Behind him, the other Kresh warriors murmured in their language. The sound was not laughter. It was shock. Elder Thress walked forward slowly. She stopped in front of Shade and studied the cub for a long moment. Then she looked at Lissa. "You killed a Duskmaw," the elder said. It was not a question. "Yes," Lissa replied. Her voice was rough from 3 days without much water. "How?" "Together." Thress looked at Shade again. "Show me." Shade understood somehow. She moved through the motions of the fight. A feint to the left, a dodge, a coordinated strike. She moved with Lissa, not against her. The demonstration lasted only moments, but every Kresh there understood what they were seeing. Pack tactics, coordination, strategy, things Kresh did not normally do. Things this cub had learned from a human. "Impossible," Vrak said, but his voice held doubt now. "Kresh do not fight this way." "Shade does," Lissa said. "She learned. She adapted. That is not weakness. That is intelligence." One of the younger warriors stepped forward. "But the trial is meant to test individual strength. Kresh honor demands we face challenges alone. This one used tricks, deception." Elder Thress held up her hand. "The trial tests survival. It tests worthiness to be Kresh. Nowhere does it say survival must come through strength alone." She turned to face all the warriors. "Our ancestors survived because they adapted. Because they were strong, yes, but also because they were smart enough to learn. This cub has done exactly that. She learned from a human," Vrak said. "That is not our way." "Perhaps it should be," Thress replied. Her words fell like stones into still water. The other Kresh reacted with surprise, some with anger. But Thress continued. "For generations we have called those who are different. Those who think differently. We call them defective and destroy them, but look at what this one accomplished. She survived where many full-blooded Kresh warriors have failed. She did so not despite her differences, but because of them." The camp went silent. Lissa could feel the weight of the moment. Something was changing here. Something important. Thress turned to Shade. "You are no longer nameless. You are no longer defective. You have passed the trial. You are Kresh," she paused. "But you are also something new. Something we have not seen before." Shade stood tall. Her bent ear marked her still. A permanent reminder of what she had been. But now it looked less like a defect and more like a badge of honor. A symbol of survival. "The human may keep her," Thress announced. "The bond between them is acknowledged under Kresh law." Vrak bowed his head, accepting the decision. But then he looked at Lissa. "What will you do now, human? Return to your cargo runs with your trophy?" Lissa felt anger flash through her. "Shade is not a trophy. She is my partner." "Partner?" Vrak's expression shifted. "You speak of a Kresh as an equal?" "Yes, because she is." More murmuring from the crowd. But this time some of it sounded thoughtful. One warrior, younger than the others, approached Shade. He studied her carefully. I would learn these tactics, he said. This coordination. It could make our warriors stronger. Our way is individual strength, Vrak said sharply. And how many of our cubs die in the trials each year because individual strength is not enough? The young warrior countered. How many could survive if they learned to think differently? To adapt? Elder Thress smiled. It was a small expression, barely visible, but it was there. The human has taught us an important lesson today. Not through words, but through action. Perhaps there is more than one way to be Kresh. Over the next hour, several warriors approached Lisa and Shade. They asked questions. How had they trained? How did they coordinate? How did Shade learn to think this way? Lisa answered as best she could. She explained patience, positive reinforcement, treating Shade as an intelligent being capable of learning, not just a weapon to be aimed. Some warriors listened with interest. Others walked away shaking their heads, but seeds had been planted. As evening fell, Lisa prepared to leave. She was loading supplies into her ship when Thress approached alone. You have changed something today, the elder said. Whether for good or ill, time will tell. I just wanted Shade to live, Lisa replied. You gave her more than life. You gave her a future, and you may have given our people something we lost long ago, the ability to see strength in difference. Thress looked at Shade, who was resting beside the ship. Take care of her. She is precious. More than you know. I will. Thress handed Lisa a small medallion. It bore Kresh symbols. This marks her as a warrior who passed the trial. It also marks you as one who has earned Kresh respect. Few outside our race can claim this. Lisa took the medallion. It was heavy, made of dark metal. Thank you. Do not thank me. You earned it. Both of you. Thress turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. What you did, keeping the cub tethered to your belt all this time. Others laughed. Called it your shadow. But I understand now. It was not about control. It was about connection. About keeping what matters close. Yes, Lisa said quietly. We Kresh could learn from that too. Thress walked away. Lisa watched her go, then looked at Shade. The cub had grown so much. She was nearly full size now, powerful and strong. The tether still connected them, clipped to Lisa's belt as always. Lisa reached down and unclipped it. Shade looked up, surprised. You do not need this anymore, Lisa said. You are free. You can stay with the Kresh if you want. Learn from them. Become a full warrior, or you can come with me. But the choice is yours now. Shade stared at the tether in Lissa's hand, then at the Kresh camp, then back at Lisa. The cub walked up the ramp into the ship and sat down in her usual spot in the cockpit. Lisa felt something tight in her chest loosen. She smiled. Together then. Shade made that soft sound she always made. Agreement, affection. Home. Lisa followed her into the ship. She started the launch sequence. As they lifted off, she looked down at the Kresh camp. Some warriors waved. Others just watched. All of them had seen something today that would stick with them. The galaxy changed slowly, Lisa thought. But it did change. One bond at a time. One act of kindness at a time. One decision to see potential instead of defect. 3 weeks later, Lisa was at a major trading hub. She walked through the market with Shade beside her. No tether. Shade simply chose to stay close, as she always did. Aliens stared. But the laughter had stopped. Word had spread through trader networks. The story of the human and her shadow had transformed. It was no longer a joke. It was a legend. A Drenix merchant bowed slightly as they passed. A Tharxian moved out of their way with respect. Even a Valoon nodded in acknowledgement. Lisa heard whispers as they walked. That is her, the one who passed the Kresh trial. The cub that should have died. Now look at her. They say she can take down a Duskmaw. They say the human trained her, changed how she thinks. Dangerous combination. Human cleverness and Kresh strength. Lisa completed her business and headed back to the ship. As they walked, a young human child broke free from her parents and ran up to Shade. The parents looked terrified, but Shade simply sat down, making herself less threatening. The child reached out and touched her fur, giggling. She is beautiful, the child said. Thank you, Lisa replied. The parents retrieved their child, apologizing, but Lisa just smiled. She looked at Shade. Beautiful. Strong. Smart. Everything they said you could never be. Shade's tail moved in what might have been pride. They boarded the ship together. As Lissa set course for their next destination, she glanced at the empty tether hanging on her belt. She had kept it not because she needed it, but as a reminder, a symbol of where they had started, from a dying cub in a cage to a legend that was changing how species saw each other, from shadow to equal, from lost to found. Lissa reached over and scratched behind Shade's ear. The cub leaned into the touch just like always. "Ready for the next adventure?" Lissa asked. Shade made her soft sound. "Always ready, always together." The ship jumped to light speed, carrying them toward whatever came next. Behind them, the galaxy talked about the human and her shadow. But Lissa did not think of Shade as a shadow anymore. Shadows were dark reflections, lesser versions of the light. Shade was her own light, burning bright, and together they illuminated possibilities the galaxy had never considered before.